Right. Remember, we have a thing about market structure that we talked about. And I showed you how basic market structure is and how basic market structure works. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my whiteboard. And I'm going to explain how everything works. Remember, when we are having highs and lows, we said we are in an uptrend as long as they are trending going upwards. And when we are having highs and lows that go in the downward direction, then that means we are in a downward trend or we are in a downtrend. So basically, when we talk it in professional terms, we're saying this is bullish and this is bearish, right? So this being bullish and this being bearish, we discovered that, or we can see that in the market. For example, I would like to pretend this is my H4. When I'm buying in my H4, this is the market structure that I'm going to see as per my H4, but in my smaller time frames, which are M15. Let me just make it a bit bigger for us to easily understand. Right, this is an uptrend. So that means if I go maybe to smaller time frames, M30 or M15 per se, you can see that they are downtrending in these areas. Record structure, they are uptrending in these areas. Right. So let's say this is my M15. I'll zoom in it. Since it's my M15 downtrend, right? This is part 1 and this is part 2. Since this is my M15 downtrend, you can zoom in again and see that in your M1, it's also busy downtrending and uptrending, downtrending and uptrending, downtrending and uptrending. So everything that happens here happens in the form of a chain reaction, meaning we first have to, let's say again, this is H4 and we're about to change direction. We first have to switch in M1 before we switch in bigger time frames. So that's how we can make use of smaller time frames. All right. So now I want you to remember this. When I spoke to you hours ago, we said we have a last buy before we sell candle or a last sell before we buy candle. I'll change colors just to distinguish. So I'll put blue. This one will represent my downtrend. So let's say in my H4, I finally come to my last buy before I sell. What do? I mark it. So I'm gonna mark that area. And this is what you'll be calling my what? My OB. Right. For now, I want you to know this. We have order blocks that break structure. We have order blocks that carry gaps. But for now, I'll just teach you order blocks that break structure because now you know what a break of market structure is. So I'll zoom in my smaller time frame and I'll see that it's busy what? Uptrending and downtrending, uptrending and downtrending. And when it reaches this point, it breaks structure in, let's say this is my M15 that I've just. So once I do that, Pause. Let's hold a bit, guys.
Hello? Hello? Who there?
I'm sorry about that, guys. I had received another call. So, as I was saying, you are going to see that as much as you are interested in all time frame switching, as much as we are having all our time frame switching, we will sorry for that, guys. So I was saying, as much as you are interested in our smaller time frames changing, in our bigger time frames changing, we have to fully understand that our smaller time frames change as well. Now, remember, we talked about this order block here in H4 before we spoke about that order block in M15. But remember, when you are having that order block in H4, let's say that's the area of that order block here. Let me put another color so that we see. Let's say that's the area of that order block here. Let's say this one represents H4. Where it turns, remember, M15 is also coming to that. Sorry, that's not perfect. M15 is also coming to that area to switch, right? So that means M15 is also going to leave an order block, right? But as M15 is also coming to leave that order block, also remember that we have time frames like M1 and M5. They're following inside, right? They're following inside, they're following inside, they're following inside. They're also coming to leave their own order blocks as well. So that means instead of using that H4 order block to enter at this area here, you can refine it to M1 to enter at this area there. Which is more precise. Are we understanding? If you're understanding, can we just type yes? Please type yes if you're understanding. I need to know how many people are understanding. All right. So this means to say we can refine that entry back to M1 and choose our M1 to enter. But I want you to take note of this. Whatever we do when trading like this, we use market structure. Now, this means if I am having my H4 and I mark my order block here, right? What I'm expecting is even if my M1 comes, I want it to come with an approach of a bullish market structure. I want it to dip in that order block and break structure and then start falling. Do you understand? We can have a scenario whereby it can just come and then give us a V formation, but I don't trade these ones. Like in A or BTMM traders, you say this, A, Vs, I don't know whatsoever you call them. But me, as a smart money concept trader, I want my market structure to give me that bullish drive, come, break that market structure, and then switch. Right. Are we understanding? Are we understanding here? Are we understanding, guys? All right. Before I move forward, can I have a question? Just one question. Can I have a question or two before I move forward? Yeah, you can definitely apply that on boom and crash. You can definitely apply it on boom and crash. Definitely without any failure. I am answering to the question that someone asked. Can I apply this on boom and crash? Yeah, you can. All right. So I'll move. Okay, I think I have another question. Can you illustrate it on a real chart? Yeah, let me do that. Someone is asking, when structure is broken, what do you consider, the wick or the body? I always consider the body. The reason why I always consider the body is this, right? I want you to get this. The body represents price. The body, sorry, I didn't draw that nicely. The body represents price, right? I think we have all seen how a candlestick opens and closes. The body represents price, and the wick represents areas where price once attempted to get but failed to fill in. This is why a simple trick again, I'll just show you this simple trick. This is why whenever I don't find convincing setups, but I see a support and a resistance, I mark it like this. This is for support and resistance traders. This is how we started trading. Let's say it falls, it comes, right? But I'm not saying I promote trading support and resistance. And then this is how support and resistance traders trade. So what I always do is I mark two lines. One, I separate the body from the wicks, and then the second one, I touch on the top of those wicks. This means even if price comes and I see another wick, I know that my resistance hasn't been broken. But when it comes again and I see a candlestick closing fully above all these wicks, then I know that there is a break and I'm ready to buy. Well, these work, but I don't really trade support and resistance. I feel like there's a lot of hidden things that people don't know about trading them. Well, someone can use it as a strategy and still make money from it. So I'll go to the rule chart now and illustrate it on a rule chart. So I'll share my screen. Right. Can we all see my screen? I bet yes, we all can see my screen. Let me choose any pair, V100S. What you're going to see here is we have structure that is going to the upside. So this is my high, this is my low, this is my high, right? Keeping it in mind, I also have another structure here. This is my low. But if you look at it, when we started here, we had an inside structure that was like this. I'll tell you about complex pullbacks and then a break here. But which one was the last buy before we sold to respect that structure? We can see it here. So now this is my order block, as you can see. And what price does is it comes in that area and then it falls like this. And now you can see, even if I do this, my structure is now overally downtrending. So as time goes, you learn that even if I delete here, let me remove here. I want you to see this. Even if I move here, you're going to see that even on previous areas, this one was our last buy before we sold to break this structure. If you mark it like this, you can see that this is a fully matured order block where price comes and then falls. On this area, it hasn't fallen. On this area, it hasn't gotten here. It did, sorry. You can choose to mark it like this. It did come, taste, and then fall. What about here? Did come, almost tested, and then it fell. But you can choose to use order blocks like this one. And you can see that even price, when it came, it fell. Now, you can have price coming in your order block like this. I want you to fully understand this. This is a last buy before we sell to break this structure. So you can have tons of order blocks here, or even this one. This is a last buy before we sell to break this structure. So you can see that we have an order block here, we have an order block here, we have an order block here. And you won't end up knowing which one is relevant for you to use. So what you need to do is you take that same Fibonacci that I taught you about, you place it on that high, and you place it on the newly made low. Now, what you do is each and every order block that is below your 61.8, you ignore it. Meaning, even if price comes to these areas below my 61.8, these order blocks are not valid here. They are not valid. The only valid order blocks that I'll take into consideration is this one and is this one. Are we understanding? Are we understanding, guys? All right. So I'll take another one. I think my network is a bit affected. My network got a bit affected. Right, it is opened. Right. Now we can look here again. Right. We have this very structure that we have. And let me choose to work with these structures, these inside structures, these microstructures. What you see here is we have a last buy before we sought candle to break this structure. So we take this as our order block and we mark it. And what you see is price comes, reacts in that area and then falls. With order blocks, the nice thing is they always become sniper entries. So when we broke that structure, you see that we have another high here, right? We have another high here, and we have a low to that high. So this low must be broken, right? So when we broke this low, we had that last buy before we sold candle, which was here, right? So we mark it. And if you stretch out that area, this was a good sniper entry, right? Now, you see that we have another high here, the newly made high, and another new low. When this low was broken here by this high, which one was our last buy before we sold? It was here. So we mark that area and even if, remember I told you we mark the body only. Now, even as small as it is, I marked the body, but you see how good of a sniper entry this is. It was a sniper entry in this area. So I want you to write to yourself that order blocks that break structure are always powerful and they have a higher rate of playing out. Order blocks that break structure. All right, maybe you are not understanding me. Let's now twist things and put them in an uptrend. You can see that before we bought to break this small structure in a smaller time frame, we have that last sell before we bought. So we mark it here. It's here. We mark it. And price just comes and taps here. You see here in the future, it comes and just taps here. I want to be precise with this. Just comes and taps and then it reacts. But you also have to fully know the direction of the market. This now you can only do it when you are now at guru level, or when you now know that you know what, I now know how to trade with market structure. I now know how to trade with order blocks. But you can very much see that just came, tapped, and then it bought. Even here we have a last. Okay, I did this example. Right, you can check even here before we broke structure here. I think we're now understanding. Before we broke structure here, remember we are having a high here and a low here. So before that, we can see that high was broken So we are saying that this order block broke this structure here that was coming from an uptrend, which was here. I guess we can now agree like this. We can now agree if we do this. So which candle was now responsible for that? We can see that before we broke the structure, we have quite a number of many order blocks, right? We have quite a number of many order blocks which are anchoring this low and this high. So what do? We come, we take our fib, and then we move up with it. So now this means each and every order block that is below the 61.8 is very valid. And if we choose to mark them, you're going to see that we have which order block? We have this one here. Played out well. We have which other order block? We have this one here. Price came in the future, played well again. Which other order block? We have this one here. Because it is sitting directly on the 61.8. So you mark it. And it came and played very well here. So I'll remove every noise that you are seeing so that you understand now. Now you see that all those order blocks that we marked in our area, if you follow them through, this one played out well. When price came to that order block, but this one played out well. When price came into this order block, it bought where? Here. This one again played out well. When price came on this order block, it bought where? Here. Are we understanding? I'm even smiling myself. I'm even smiling myself because I know that this one, you're getting it. How many are understanding here, guys? How many are understanding? Are we understanding? So now I want to show you something. If you are able to now go in those order blocks and then switch to your M1, remember what I taught you. Remember everything that I taught you when you started this lesson. I said we approach order blocks with market structure. Isn't this market structure that you are approaching those order blocks with? This is the order block at the very bottom. Now you see we have a low. Sorry. Now you see we have lows. This is M1 now. We have lows, highs, lows, highs. When it approaches that order block, I said it has to break structure. Let me do this. I said we approach them with lows and highs. Lows and highs. Lows and highs. We have a low. Right. Now, the moment we break structure in M1, you see, we've broken structure where? We've broken structure here. Everything is now officially started. Go to M5. What do you see? M5. It comes, it breaks structure where? It breaks structure here. Right. Now, go to M15. M15 comes. Where does it break structure? It comes somewhere around this area. Again, here, GJ2. That's what we want to witness. And then we buy. So you can keep this trade in mind. This is V251S. We now expect it to buy. Because we've broken structure in all smaller time frames, I'll go back to that lesson that I taught you. We said when you have a high and a low, and you know the direction of your trade, you use what you call a fib. So now that I know that my trade has switched into a buy trend, I come to my low and my newly made high. And what do? I wait for it to do what? To come to the 61.8 or the 70. Isn't this where the trade came? It came here. It is rated here. Meaning what? It's now buying. Right. And then it gives you lows and highs. And then smaller, in bigger time frames, it switches and then it goes up. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's how you trade and refine everything to M1. That's how you make everything that's how you make everything come into that aligning effect, so that you know how to hold, when to enter, and it also gives you that confidence. So I think for this lesson I'm done. We are only left with 4 minutes, but remember, I also need to sleep, I also need to eat, I also need time for family. So that's all that I had to share again today. I'll definitely upload this lesson on YouTube and Telegram. For those, I'm not marketing, sorry, but for those that are interested in joining our flip rooms, please kindly do so in time, because we start our sessions early in the morning. For those that want signals, lessons, and stuff, you can also feel free to inbox me. Those that don't have my number, I think I'll share it here. So these are my two numbers. The first number is +27832616080, and then the other one is +263 712 707 911. I guess you can replay that. Well, that's it for today. Good night, family. I'll see you tomorrow in discussion groups. Thank you.